Learn exactly what Maresca had to say on Romeo Lavia's performance, Nico Jackson, and a lot more. And my friends, we are holding big talks with this Borussia Dortmund star. A lot to unpack, a lot to discuss, a lot to get through, so I hope you guys enjoy. But real quick, show some love with the match review. It is out now after we secured 3 vital points at home today against Everton. So I hope you guys are still gassed. Hit that like button and let's get straight into things. Now for the next story, we discuss all the big post-match talk to come out after today's 1-0 win against Everton. And naturally, Maresca was asked, what was it like being in the press box, as we know that he was suspended for his 50th game in charge. As Maresca said, it's not a disaster, but it's not that great, to be honest with you. I prefer to be on the bench because, if I want to say something, I can say it, and I can't from where I am. I managed the game by being in contact with the bench because I had coaching staff alongside me to help spread the messages. Moving on, we learned his thoughts on the game, with Enzo saying he felt in the first half we absolutely controlled things. We dominated actually in that first half. We made a lot of chances. We conceded absolutely nothing. Everton didn't have a sniff of a counter-attack against us, but in the second half, we dropped off a little bit. Maybe we were affected by the heat on the pitch at the time. But the good thing is we were strong and even nasty when we had to be, and we deserved to win overall. And, this is like one of the things about our team, a very young team. They can't sustainably manage their levels over the course of 90 minutes. But as they get more experience and develop and control themselves and their tempo, I think that will naturally increase the level of control that we can end these games with. Moving on, naturally, big talks of Nicholas Jackson finally scoring his first goal since December against Brentford. It's been a long time in the waiting, but boy, did this guy score an absolute screamer today to secure us 3 massive big points. As Enzo said, we never doubted him. We don't doubt Nico or Palmer or even Sanchez. You have to support these guys in those moments, and hopefully Palmer's goal soon come. Okay, he didn't say that. But imagine if he did, though. Would it surprise if he's dropping bars in the training ground with all these guys? Probably not. But anyway, he said that he rated Cole Palmer for his application and work rate and the sacrifices he made, which I think is a very fair comment. We didn't see him as much, but he did produce some nice moments. He wasn't like, a peripheral figure in this game. And I was okay with that because I was getting a bit worried before. That's a bit too much dependency on Palmer having to be the main unlocker in the team. And I'm thinking, you know what? You don't have to do that. And when he was on form last season, he was like complementing the rest of the team. And that was how he was naturally getting in these scoring positions, right? So, yeah, decent from Palmer today. Robert Sanchez, of course, stole the show for good reasons this time. Finally, Maresca saying he was very happy with him, and you could tell with the way his teammates celebrated with him how much it meant to everyone at the time. Of course, it's good to see these guys there for him in the good moments, and he's had his difficulties, Maresca said, but he has produced strong moments like that big save against Spurs. And it's normal to remember the mistakes all the time and not the good things. So hopefully this Robert Sanchez we're seeing can just be the same consistent Sanchez till the end of the season. And for the last few comments on the game, Romeo Lavia finally starting a game in God knows how long. And Maresca spoke about, spending a full season with Romeo for the Man City under 23 teams all those years back. And as I've been stressing, this was Maresca's original protege. At the time, he was following the games of Fernandinho, Rodri, and Maresca in Lavia's formative years really coached him how to be that holding 6 player that can kickstart attacks, break the play, and be that dominant figure out from the back. Maresca said Lavia's quite unique. He can defend well, attack well, break the lines, pass between the lines. Unbelievable. Hopefully next season we see more of him. And, the positive is he's showcased his talent for us this season, more than last season. I feel like it's not a linear curve, but the trajectory is like slowly rising for Lavia. And at least this season, he's shown he does have the talent. He does have the potential. It's a shame the last 2 years have low-key slowed down the progress a little bit. But you know what? I think this guy's got a big future here. And it'll be interesting to see how Maresca next season is going to balance your Enzos, your Lavias, your Caicedos, and your Andre Santoses. Because is Caicedo going to be the #1 inverted fullback from next season when you got Reece James and Gusto? Bro, it's going to be a very tough situation for Maresca from next season. But my guys, for the final 2 points, of course, Trevor Chalobah rightfully deserved big praise today with Enzo saying that he's returned. He's doing very, very, very well. That's 3 verys today for Maresca. He's helping us. He's defending. He's building up. And, when asked if he's playing a bigger role than expected, naturally coming back, being recalled in January, Enzo was like, no. Like, he's doing what was expected from him. I think with a guy like this, you keep him in your squad. I think it's that safe. Like, next season, we have 5 centre-backs. Chalobah has to be here. I mean, the fact that, as I said in my review, he kicked out Disasi's and Badias and all these guys at the end of last season, and now he's come back and he's done the same thing again. Like, to Tosin is supposed to be the free version of Chalobah, and Chalobah's the better player. I think it's that safe. And he's peaking at the moment at 25 years old. He's reaching that next stage. So please respect this guy. Keep him in the squad. The final positive thing from Enzo Maresca, he revealed that at the moment the team balance is looking very positive. He says, we are going to be better and better because the players are now understanding better and better how to play different games. And that's fair. That is a very fair comment. We're starting to maybe get a bit more comfortable. Not like very comfortable, but a bit more comfortable playing against defensive teams that sit deep and, protect their blocks. And also, mentally, we're learning how to grind results out because you can't play your 10 out of 10 best football all the time. Clubs like Dortmund, they must perform at that level to get where they have to get to, but they never win things because they can't win it the ugly way. If we want to be winners, we got to do it both. We got to do it every way, right? So again, little things showing like slight improvements in the team's overall understanding. And I think these comments today were pretty fair. So we get ready for Liverpool next week, my guys. Hopefully we secure a big result. But now I got to discuss the final 2 big transfer stories. So don't go anywhere now. With the big news emerging from Germany, breaking from all the journalists and from Sky Sports Germany, but we are in the lead. We have been holding talks with the representatives and team of Jamie Bynoe-Gittens from Borussia Dortmund, and at the moment, we are looking to even double Gittens' salary. He's earning around €3 million a year at Dortmund so far. We're looking to offer him 6 to 7 mil to get this deal over the line. So yeah, heads are really turning right now. Obviously, Gittens is not that happy that he's losing his first team spot in the second half of this season under Kovac, but equally, his form has kind of dipped a little bit, and he's shown a lot of rawness, which I'm going to get onto a little bit briefly. But there are some other interesting reports, and they do reveal something that I've alluded to before, as in like my personal prediction. But I've always thought, okay, if we If we signed Jadon Sancho, committed to securing his obligation to buy a fee at the end of this season, what would stop us from potentially offering Sancho in exchange for some money to bring the overall cost down for this deal? We learned prior, a few months back, that Sancho's team have kind of had early conversations about a possible return back to Dortmund. And I think at the moment, they will not say no to the return of a Jadon Sancho. So let's watch this space. Let's see how things progress and see how things develop. But for the final piece of news, naturally, Dortmund have humbled up and realized we're not going to earn 100 mil euros from this sale. We're not even going to get 80 mil. At the moment, a fee between 50 to 60 mil euros would be deemed enough to conclude the business of his sale. That's around like 41 point something million to around 51 million pounds, which is more reasonable. And if we can possibly offer some players in exchange to bring the costs down even more, that works in our favor. But for the final piece of news on this story, my friends, there is also a possibility that Gittens could yet remain at Dortmund, as his team held talks with the boss, like the head boss at Dortmund in Lars Ricken, about obviously his future, his development plan, and what could happen. And naturally, if Dortmund don't get the offers that they want, all likely is, that Gittens could remain at Dortmund for next season. And maybe that could be good for him to develop a little bit more, because I would say that first half of the season, he definitely profited from being an unknown quantity, playing for a very open, offensive Dortmund team, and he was relishing that. But as teams tightened up and realized that he was the star guy that you had to control, you're seeing the rawness in his game. You're seeing him show maybe poor shot selections in the sense that he over dribbles before he takes a shot, or he's shooting first and not seeing the overall picture with where his teammates are, or his shots just are taken at the wrong time and he doesn't have the right body balance, or they're a bit too predictable, making it easy for the keeper to save against him at the moment. On top of that too, now that he's getting doubled up on, he is finding it hard to use different techniques and skills to get past his opponents, making it maybe a bit easier, even though it's like a harder, more difficult situation to be in, right? There's rawness there, but equally, he does have talent. And I guess if you want to make a move for him, you're accepting that this is someone that could be a big guy in maybe 2-3 years. I think he might need that amount of time by the time he's 24, 25 years old, because he can shoot with both feet. He has shown that promise to be a match winner, which shows big mentality and confidence in yourself in game. I think his dribbling is his best thing. He's got the skills for sure, but like there's a difference between being a talent and being a great footballer, right? I'm not here to say that Gittens isn't a great footballer. He is. But at the moment, he wants to be more talented than more of a football player, if that makes sense. And he's kind of overdoing things more than he has to, because, he is also young and has that youthful inexperience in his game. So ideally, I've mentioned this before when I've discussed him, he would be like my number 2 or my competition guy alongside a more senior left winger down that side. For argument's sake, could you keep Jadon Sancho there? Because you know that for the following year, Kender comes, and you could easily have Kender and Gittens competing for that left wing spot, and that could make more sense as you get ready for Kender's arrival. Let's see what happens there. But I don't know, man. Ideally, if I could pick, I would prefer to go for like an established big name left winger. Like Rodrigo would be the dream. Even like Nico Williams. I like the look of Leao, would have been a nice one. But I'm accepting that maybe the club don't see it that way. And I'm also accepting that we've signed Kender, one of the biggest teen talents in Europe. And you're not signing a kid like this and then denying him minutes to develop by signing like a massive senior guy. So let's watch the space, my friends, but it does seem a bit promising around Gittens. This is where you share your thoughts and opinions. Do you like this news? Do you not like this news? Let's have this conversation. Get involved. And for the final report to end things, we discussed the future surrounding Christo and Kungu. Now, this summer seems to be quite promising for him, because we're learning that Bayern Munich are still interested in his services and Arsenal are also looking at him. I remember I once told an Arsenal fan a few months back, I think Nkunku could be a good signing for you guys. And he kind of laughed it off, saying, nah, he's dead, he's this, he's that. I was just like, you don't really know what Nkunku's about. You're just judging him off this season. You can't do that, because I get why people do that, especially clubs our own fans. It's kind of like, well, yeah, I know you were doing big things before you signed for us, but if you're not doing big things here for us, it means that you're not that guy. It means you're overrated. It means that you're not as good as you think you are, which is unfair, because I think for Nkunku's issues this season, it's solely been down to not really having any purpose. I feel for him. I think Maresca's been a bit harsh maybe at times. He could have been at least an understudy to Cole Palmer. Allow Palmer to rest up a bit, because we can't forget Nkunku has been known for being a guy that gets the assists and gets the goals. He's not just like one of each. He's always been both throughout his career, playing in a similar position as Cole Palmer. So he's found himself on the left-hand sides, which has not been great for him, or even worse, finding himself up front, which is not his position, especially playing the spearheading, striker role who runs the channels that's expected from him. That is not his game. So sadly, we're not going to get big money for him, but when you accept the fact that at least, we've covered 2 years of his player costs, you deduct it from the fee that you paid for him, and I reckon we could, get a fair bit of around 40 to 45 mil. Listen, I think when Nkunku leaves us, he will start cooking again. I know what the reaction is going to be like on socials from the fans. Why is he not doing that here with us? This, that. His attitude, it's this, it's that. Listen, sometimes in this game, you can just be collateral. I can't even be mad at Maresca because he has his own ideas he has to develop. And obviously, Enzo Fernandez is that big guy. And I think we can all see why Enzo plays that role. I say ahead of Nkunku than even Cole Palmer. Because if Portugal was here, I think Portugal should be using them both together. But to make that happen, as we saw glimpses of near the end of last season, there was a Conor Gallagher with his work rate alongside Moises to supplement maybe a bit of weakness that you're going to have pressing and off the ball by having Nkunku and Palmer together. And also, Portugal's other difference was requiring Noni Madueke to track back even more than what we necessarily see all the time now from the wingers with Enzo Maresca. So there's these little tweaks and stuff. And again, because Maresca has a duty to Enzo Fernandez and he's not the best off the ball. Like, he can press, he's got a good work rate, but in terms of tackling and stuff, bro, we've seen him get spun. Like he's like the most spun player in the league, actually, when it comes to just breaking away from him. You need to have that defensive reliability to accommodate for something like that. Enzo can't sit deep alongside Moises, putting Moises under more pressure to support Nkunku with Palmer. So, you know, I accept tactically, because I've thought about this so much, why Nkunku was going to lose out. Losing out even more, considering we didn't even have a number 2 striker with Nico. So, listen, for the sake of him, we have to cash in on him, reinvest that money, and hopefully Kungu can still have a good season next season, because I've always liked this guy, and hopefully secure a spot with the French national team for the World Cup next year. So that's it for me, my guys. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Get involved in the conversation, and I will catch you tomorrow with some more videos, as I'm going to release my Dean Howson analysis reaction. So stay tuned for that. Love. Cool.